Welcome to Michelle's Making. Are you ready for coffee, crafts, cooking, and cocktails? Let's get going.
Welcome, and welcome back to those of you who are returning. I really do appreciate it. Guess what today is? Ugly Christmas Sweater Day, and I've got my Florida-themed flamingo sweater on today. But we're going to make it a great one. It's also Wright Brothers Day, Maple Syrup Day, and Underdog Day. Always root for the underdog. I've had my coffee already. It was French vanilla creamer today, the old standby. Let's make it a great one and let's get going.
Today I'm making vanilla crunch cookies. I've never made this recipe before. I did find it on the internet. Don't worry, I'm going to link it in the description box. It requires only a few ingredients: the cake mix, Cool Whip, vanilla, and an egg. You don't need a stand mixer for this. A hand mixer or even mixing it by hand would be appropriate. But you add everything into the bowl and then mix it up until it's well incorporated. It does end up being a sort of thick, kind of sticky batter. So using a cookie scoop to portion works out really well. While the ingredients are very simple and mixing it up is really easy, making the actual cookies is a little bit time consuming. I did read one of the helpful hints in the recipe that said if you put it in granulated sugar first and then confectioner's sugar, it does crinkle more, and these crinkled really well. I thought they looked great. It's just a little bit of an interesting recipe. I thought they were kind of pretty, which is what prompted me to even want to make them. But it is a little time consuming here as you portion them out. As you can see, each one individually has to be rolled in both of the sugars. But regardless, they did turn out okay. It's a very soft cookie. It is cake-like, but very soft. So if you don't like a really soft cookie, if you like crunchy cookies, you may not care for this. But they turned out all right. They look beautiful. And that's it, the vanilla crunch cookies. The first craft I'm making today is some Christmas swags. I needed 2 swags to go at the end of my garland in my dining room, and I used 4 Dollar Tree trees, 2 white and 2 green. I used a green and a white for each one. I began by opening them up, spreading out the branches, but flat on the table. So as you can see here, I laid it on the table and then just spread the branches out flat. After I'd spread them out, I laid one on top of the other and began kind of intertwining the branches a little bit to kind of get them to stay together, number one, and also to kind of blend the branches so that the coloring looked well dispersed among the swag. I used the garland wire ties from Dollar Tree to connect them at the bottom and also to sort of cover that the tree stump part of the tree, the metal part, make it look a little bit more like a branch. And then I took, again from Dollar Tree, these ornaments. They came a pack of, I believe, 12 for $1, and I had 2 packs, the red and the silver here. I used 3 of each color and strung them along this paddle wire that I had. And then once I had done that, I attached it to the swag. Now I didn't go all the way at the top because I knew I was going to put a bow there and I wanted them to show. I didn't want them to be covered by the bow. So I went down about a branch or 2, as you see here. And also by doing that and twisting the wire around both of the trees, it also helps secure the 2 trees together. And remember I mentioned I'm making 2 swags so that they can go at each end of my garland. So I'm doing everything I'm doing it twice. With the remodel on our house, it changed up my decor quite a bit. And so I'm kind of going with the traditional red, white, and green. And I had these rolls of ribbon in my stash. Again, remember, I'm trying to use up things I already had. And everything I've used so far, I already had in my craft stash. I had this beautiful red burlap wired ribbon and also a really pretty red plaid ribbon that I was going to use to do the bows. And I did the plaid a little bit smaller than the red because I was going to place it on top of it. And when I fluffed it out, I wanted it to have some dimension. For these bows, I did a simple fold over method because it's the same on both sides, the ribbon. I didn't have to worry about there being a proper side that I had to twist and form to get outside. But I ended up folding the ribbon on top of each other. I did do a little loop here you can see in the center. That's going to be the center of my bow. Made the snips in the middle of the bow for the wire tie to fit through snugly. Make sure you include your tails for your bow before you attach that wire tie. For these particular swags, the way they were going to hang, I ended up using 3 wire ties on each one. One to secure the bow. Remember, every good bow gets a good fluffing. You see I'm fluffing here. But then I put another wire tie inside that one. You can see the edge of it sticking out there. And you'll see when I'm making the second bow, I included that in the final editing here because you could see the wire ties a little differently, and I just thought that might help for some of you who are trying to do this at home. But I ended up using that second wire tie to be able to attach here to the trees. And there's the third wire tie. You saw me slip it through there. That's so that I have something to actually hang the swags up at the end of the garland. I put a little hook there to hang the swag behind the garland. Now this is the second bow I'm leaving in, like I said, because I wanted you to be able to maybe see it from a different angle and perhaps be able to follow along a little better. Fluff, fluff, fluff that bow. But there it goes. The second bow gets attached onto the second swag, and I've got my 2 swags to go on my garland. The next thing I'm making today is a wax warmer upcycle. I had this wax warmer from several years ago, and I just loved the design on it, but it was electric and it stopped working and I couldn't get it fixed. So I ended up taking out the mechanism and cutting the wire off and keeping this canister. I've had it for a couple of years because I thought I want to do something with it. I just love it. And I decided to turn it into a floral arrangement. And I began by putting some floral foam down in the bottom of the canister. And then I dug out my Christmas picks. I've got a couple here. These larger ones were from Walmart. They were 98 cents, which I thought was a good deal. And then several others that I had from Dollar Tree. And I began with the Dollar Tree ones, cutting them apart because there were parts of it that I thought would be well matched for these other 2 larger ones that I got at Walmart. I was just trying to find things that kind of went together with the red and the snow-kissed look and the berries and some, sparkle, some glitter. There were a couple of pine cones with glitter on them. So I thought I just played around with a little bit, and I opted to put the two larger ones that I'd gotten from Walmart at the back of the canister, sort of to the sides. And then I had these berry picks. Again, this is stuff I dug in my stash for. Those berry picks were, I think, a piece of another pick that I had cut the berries off a couple of years ago. But I ended up using that for filler. And then these other larger berries, again, same thing. They got cut off, another one. And I usually save things if I like them, but I didn't really want to use them at the time. And I decided to add a little more snow-kissed using my Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I gave it a little touch-up on some things there. And I added a bow, just a simple loop bow. I attached it to a skewer stick and stuck it down in. It was a little bit long, so I snipped it down because I really wanted the bow to fit down in there in order to kind of fill in so you couldn't see through the greenery, which it worked out perfect. But there you have it. That was really all there was to it. Tell me in the comments, do you like these kind of things, sort of arrangements? I find they're easy to do, and really you just play around with it till it looks pleasing to your eye. But let me know in the comments what you think. That's my wax warmer upcycle. And the next thing I did was a Christmas mug arrangement, which was also an upcycle from an old Christmas mug. Again, sometimes I save these things and I don't really know what I'm going to do with them, but I decided to do another pick arrangement by filling the cup with some floral foam and then digging out the rest of these old picks that I had in my Christmas stash. And began by playing around with it. I had a taller one, which I really liked. It had that little curly Q glittery thing on it. I only had one of them, so I decided to use that for sort of my center starting piece. And then the rest I just used to fill in. I used this big pick and also some pine cones. And then I also had a sprig off of, I think it was off of a piece of a Christmas tree, to be honest with you, but I'm not sure exactly. And it was just a little 6-inch piece. And I thought, oh, that'd be a good filler, but I needed to be able to get it in the foam. So I just trimmed off part of the bottom of it there so that I could have a wire piece sticking out. And that's what I was going to shove into the foam. And that's what I did. And then I decided to add a ribbon to it, same as I did on the other arrangement. And this ribbon was just perfect. It matched the cup perfectly. It had little candy canes on it. It was the red and white and green theme. It had another little curly Q kind of candy looking thing. I mean, it couldn't have been any more perfect for that mug. This bow I made by doing 2 simple loop bows, clipped it with my pink Dollar Tree clip to hold it together, and then took some very thin red satin ribbon to wrap around the center and tie it in a knot. That's all there was to this bow. But I also attached it to a skewer. And a little trick when you're attaching a skewer to something, something very thin like that to a bow, I put a pretty generous daub of hot glue, and then when I put the stick on there, kind of roll it and turn it so that it gets completely covered with the glue as it adheres to the bow, and it'll stay on a lot better that way. I did trim up the skewer a little bit on this because I wanted this bow to go down deep in the arrangement as well. And that's it, my Christmas mug arrangement. Well, it's time for that adult beverage now. Let me know in the comments, are you ready for an adult beverage? Today, it's a Christmas Cosmo. This drink is really easy to make using vodka, triple sec, lime juice, and cranberry juice. Everything goes in the shaker. Make sure you chill your glass while you're mixing your drink. Shake, shake, shake everything till it's well chilled. Pour it into your chilled glass, and the only thing left is to enjoy your Christmas Cosmo.
Well, folks, that's it for another week. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to take time to stop and smell the coffee. Make it a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.